It seems like the Kerala floods, which left a trail of destruction behind, were indeed man-made. At least that's what the Green Court now believes. The National Green Tribunal, the NGT, has now upheld the Kasturi Rangan report and has banned the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change from granting environmental clearances in Kerala's Western Ghats, which is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now, the report recommended a ban on mining, quarrying and sand mining. It also banned new thermal power projects but allowed hydropower projects with restrictions. It allowed building and construction projects on the Western Ghats. The Kasturi Rangan report had earlier said that Kerala's Western Ghats are ecologically sensitive area, of which 60% of the area have been covered by human settlements and only 37% of the area is left in the Western Ghats, which is still biologically rich.
For each of the sectors, we both gave background of available review of available information, and then on the basis, as I said, of extensive discussions we had with each of the governments of all these states, and discussions with people's representatives going down to Gram Panchayat members up to members of parliament, on basis of all those specific measures to be taken for these various sectors were put forth. As I said, I cannot enumerate the number, but it covered in a comprehensive fashion all the sectors. Our report was so forthright, and because amongst the facts documented were facts about corrupt practices which were also hurting the environment, that governments would not like the report, fine. But I did not quite foresee how much, to what extent they would go to falsify the report, what is in the report, and create impression in people's mind about what will be the consequences of the report.
The Western Ghats is one of the biodiversity hotspots in the world. That is a scientific fact that has been acknowledged for decades. And the need to protect the Western Ghats has always been a priority for the country. Now, unfortunately, what has happened is the government of India has always been taking a short-term view. It's always been a thing of environment versus development, or development versus environment. And the priority has never been given to environment, unfortunately. And in this era of climate change, sea level rise, and the fact that extreme climatic events are going to increase both in terms of frequency and intensity, it is absolutely necessary that we factor in environmental parameters in the decision-making process. But that, unfortunately, has never really happened. In a sense, the need to protect the Western Ghats has now been underlined by the Kerala floods. The fact that similar incidents are going to occur in future and with more increasing frequency and intensity is also now acknowledged by the scientific community all over the world. And it is imperative that we put into place mechanisms to protect our forests, our environment and our biodiversity.
Associate Editor Paulami Saha now joins me live from the newsroom. Paulami, when we say it's a man-made disaster, as the NGT has also pointed out, a part of it also is the ignorance as far as the Gadgil report is concerned, because there seems to be complete ignorance by the people and the ministry is concerned to take into cognizance what Mr. Gadgil had to say years ago.
In fact, the Madhav Gadgil committee report has been gathering dust for a very long time, Vedika. This is a report which was compiled with a lot of detail in terms of the investigation that Mr. Gadgil did, brought in his expertise and compiled this report, but nobody took note of the sort of recommendations which were being made in that report. And successive governments, we're not just talking about the present regime, we're talking about the past regime as well. When in fact Madhav Gadgil presented that report, he incidentally also happened to be part of the National Advisory Council, which was led by UPA chairperson Sonia Gandhi. So it's unfortunate that everyone has been successively ignoring what is in these reports, what it talks about in terms of eco-sensitive areas. When the UNESCO, classifies a particular area as a biodiversity heritage site, you can imagine the kind of importance it is lending to that area. But be it the Madhav Gadgil report or the Kasturi Rangan report, which did eventually reduce the area area which is considered to be eco-sensitive, as was recommended by the Madhav Gadgil committee report. It brought down the area, but even so, after that, like I pointed out, there was a draft notification which was sent out to states in February 2017. It expired 1 year later on August 26th, and nobody had collated the final report. The responses from the states were awaited. Some were opposing it. Well, there is going to be opposition and objection. States are going to talk about the various activities that in fact are good for economics of the state, but then that debate needs to happen actively. You have a notification which expired and nobody took note of it until, of course, the Kerala floods happened.
All right, so the debate over environment versus development continues, and that is one of the sore points, as some environmentalists also have pointed out. Paulmi, thanks for joining us live. We're going to come back to you in a moment for some breaking news that's coming in.